Good morning, my friends, and happy Friday morning. What a beautiful day it is here in Wisconsin. It is just a perfect morning. It's sunny, it's gorgeous, the air feels so crisp, and you can kind of feel the change of seasons in the air. So it's not quite fall, which I'm very, very grateful for, but you can tell that it's coming. So this project that we're doing today is about change. It's about, well, it's called Metamorphosis because it's both a bracelet and a necklace. And who knows, maybe something else as well. Maybe it's also a belt. I don't know. But anyway, it's a piece that can be worn in so many different ways. So let me show you what it looks like as a necklace. It's quite long. It is 30 plus inches in length, and this is what it looks like as a necklace. So I'm just showing you guys the length. So this is what it looks like at full length. Hi guys! And but wait, there's more. So then we have a little tassel. Here it is. And this can be at the bottom of your necklace. So we can just clip it right on. And now we have a little focal piece. So can you see how long it is? It's, I want to say it's about 33 inches in length, and I'm just getting my necklace out of the way. So what do you think? Ta-da! I don't know, can you see it on my, it kind of blends in a little bit. Can you guys see it on my top? I hope you can. It is right here. Here is the little tassel. And so now I'm going to take it off and show you what it looks like as a bracelet. Only, of course, if I can untangle it from the necklace that I am wearing. So I love pieces of jewelry that can be worn in versatile ways. And this is also about personalization. It's about making it just the way you want it and also wearing it the way you want it. So inspired by your mood, by what side of the bed you get out on today, this day, you can wear this as a bracelet, as a necklace, and maybe something else, you tell me. So this is also a wrap bracelet that should go 5 times around your wrist. So this wraps 5 times around my wrist, and that brings me to a really good point. You know, I like to talk about sizing because that is a question people ask me all the time. And so as far as sizing, I think I'm going to turn this a little bit. So as far as sizing, this is meant to go 5 times around your wrist. Hence, when you wear it as a bracelet, it's going to be the length of 5 times around your wrist. So if your wrist is, let's say, 7 inches, we multiply 7 by 5, and you get a 35-inch necklace. And then, of course, added to that is a 2-inch extender chain. I think I made mine just a little bit shorter, but you get 2 inches of chain. So potentially it could be a 37-inch necklace.
Connie says good morning.
Good morning, Connie.
Ellen says hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen. Good morning.
Fonda says good morning, everyone. Happy Friday.
Good morning, Fonda, and happy Friday.
Marianne says happy Friday, just to let you know that you are very appreciated in what you do and share and sends a heart.
Thank you you so much, Marianne. I'm sending a heart to all of you guys. I hope this looks like a heart. I'm not very good at doing these, but I'm sending you guys a heart and lots of love.
Trudy says good morning.
Good morning, Trudy.
And Carmen says hi.
Good morning, Carmen.
Sue D says hi.
Hi, Sue.
Lonnie says good morning, cute top.
Oh, thank you so much, Lonnie.
Janice says good morning from Alabama.
Good morning, Janice from Alabama.
And Lynn C says hi, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and all.
Hi, Lynn.
And Nadine says good morning.
Hello, Nadine. All right, guys, this is a little hint of what the new bracelet or necklace will look like. You can tell me if you like it better as a necklace or as a bracelet. I have not yet made up my mind. So when you wear this as a bracelet, you can also use the little tassel, and we will just clip it right onto that extender chain. So this not only adds a little extra oomph to your bracelet, but also it just kind of weighs it down a little bit, and this way it's going to stay in place with the clasp at the bottom. So that's just like a little extra bonus point. You don't have to wear the clasp, hence it attaches itself with a lobster clasp, and that is very easily removable. So anyway, this is probably one of the funnest pieces of jewelry that I have made because it is so very versatile. And of course, by the end of making this piece, you will be a knotting pro. There is a lot of knotting here. So, speaking of that, why don't we just get knotting?
Katie S says good morning. What a beautiful day in southeast Wisconsin.
Good morning, Katie. I know, right? And it's just so gorgeous outside. It is absolutely incredible. This is like a beautiful hiking day. It's a beautiful day to enjoy nature in whatever way you enjoy nature.
Kim C says morning, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and all.
Good morning, Kim.
Barb says good morning. What a versatile project.
Thank you so much, Barb.
Angela says good morning.
Hi, Angela. Good morning.
Carol says good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Carol.
Nadine says looking pretty cute as a bracelet, bonus as a necklace.
Yay. Thank you, Nadine. All right, ladies. I think we are just going to get started right about now. So with this kit, you are going to have 14 feet of Ceylon. We're making this on Ceylon. That is our stringing material. And you might think 14 feet is a little bit excessive. It's really not. Just take my word, because knotting takes so much extra stringing material. So what you will find is, depending on how you knot this piece, you will actually make your stringing material about half of the length, give or take, depending on whether you are really tight in your spacing or if you're a little bit more relaxed.
Veronica says good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Veronica. Okay, guys, so we are going to get started by cutting our Ceylon in half. So I'm working with a shorter piece of Ceylon because it's more practical for me when I'm in front of the camera, but you just take your 14 feet of Ceylon and cut it right in half. And then we are going to line up the two sides so that the ends match. And then we are going to put our first knot. This is just a regular overhand knot. And we're going to put it right in the center of your string. I find that that is probably the easiest way to start, because dealing with this much Ceylon, you are going to want to cut it in half as far as working. And so this way you're only going to be working with 7 feet on each side. And that is just so much easier than working with 14 feet of Ceylon.
Pammy J says good morning.
Good morning, Pammy J.
Lindsay says, lost it. It is really amazing how much cord knotting uses. Always err on the side of starting with more than you think you will need.
Oh, I so agree with you. Thank you so much for making that point. I agree. All right, ladies. So we have mookaite. We have lapis lazuli. And we have the same dyed magnesite as we do in the turquoise colored colorway. So this is called, did we call this Sedona Sky? I believe so. So we have Sedona Sky, and the new colorway is going to be called Gemstone Kaleidoscope. So we are going to start by placing our first bead. And this is a very easy technique. It is also a very popular technique these days. You see a lot of knotted pieces. In fact, when you go to boutiques, you see these very high-end knotted pieces where one part of the string goes through the bead and the other part of the string goes on the outside of the bead. So that is going to be our approach. And so the color, actually the name of the colorway is Turquoise Sky. So this is Turquoise Sky. It's a little, you know, to me it looks so southwest. So I was thinking maybe I called it Sedona Sky, but it is Turquoise Sky. And it's literally the color of Sleeping Beauty, but of course this is not Sleeping Beauty. If it were, oh my goodness, we would have to sell our firstborn to pay for it, right? Plus, you really cannot get it at this point. So we are going to bring the strings together, the string that goes through the bead and the string goes to the outside of the bead, and we're simply going to tie an overhand knot. So an overhand knot is simply you wrap the string. This is how I do it. I just wrap it around my 2 fingers and then just kind of sneak the string in, and there is my knot. So I honestly do not make it a point to get as close as I can to the bead. I actually prefer to place this, the knot a little bit further away from the bead, give a little spacing, because with having 2 strings of Ceylon, you're going to make it a little bit too snug, and then it's just not going to drape as well. So this is meant to drape really well. The more you wear it too, the more it's going to get drapey. And so as you can see, my knots are a little bit, I would say the spacing between the knots is a little bit relaxed to achieve that nice drape.
Ellie says, hi everyone, excited to see this cool project.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. Yay. So, so I have my stone bead, and then my next bead is going to be one of my cubies. I love working with cubies. I kind of throw them in just about everything I do because to me, they are just a wonderful spacer. And here's the same exact knot. So the way that I chose to space this necklace or bracelet is so that there are 2 cubies in between each stone bead. So that is the spacing. But when you look a little closer, you can see that the cubies are a little bit offset. It's like they're just a little bit staggered. You guys can see that, right? And the way you achieve that is when you look at which side the string is on, So you can see that the string is right outside of the bead. So you pick the string on that side to put your QB on.
Amy says good morning.
Good morning, Amy. And we will string this next bead on. And as you can see, it's offset. Just like that. And our next knot. So the knotting is very, very simple. To me, it's a very relaxing thing to do, and it actually goes pretty quickly. So for this next colorway, here, let me give you a little hint. So it's pretty colorful, and I'm trying to give it as much contrast as I can. So my next bead is going to be something other than the mookaite. And to, I don't want to confuse things, so you will see mookaite in shades of yellow, shades of burnt orange, and so all of that is mookaite. And maybe we'll just take one of these little yellow guys right here. And it's kind of a fall mustardy yellow, which to me, this colorway is definitely a really good transitional one. As far as the first colorway, turquoise sky, well, you know, turquoise you can wear all year round. It just, you know, it's just always fun and always appropriate. And this next colorway is a very transitional colorway. To me, it's like early fall, or, well, early fall is perfect, I would say, to describe this. Although, can you wear it in the winter? Of course you can. You really can wear it all year round. It's not a specific season, but at first look to me, it's a bit early fall. Maybe because we are about to enter early fall.
Cynthia says morning, everyone.
Good morning, Cynthia. I'm so glad you're joining us. Okay, guys, so as you can see, I've just been staying on one side, and you don't have to. You can go from side to side and just do the same thing. We're just going to string a knot. And I think we've done enough of that where we can move on to the next step. So I would like to talk a little bit about spacing. And yes, definitely go in both directions. I like to do a little bit in one direction and a little bit in the other direction. And the entire time as I am stringing and knotting, I'm also wrapping the bracelet around my hand. And it's especially going to be important with the kaleidoscope colorway, because with the turquoise sky, it's all the same gemstone. So really, you don't have to worry about staggering the colors. But as you're working on the gemstone kaleidoscope colorway, not only do you probably want to stagger the gemstones within the strand, so as you look at the strand, you can see, and yes, I pre-made this, so when you look at it, you can see that I have quite a bit of contrast. I don't have, let's say, lapis lazuli beads next to lapis lazuli beads, unless of course you want to create your own pattern, which that would be fun too. You can experiment. But so my approach is to create as much contrast in between the beads, but also because it's a multi-wrap kind of bracelet. The other thing that I took care to do is create contrast when the three strands are next to one another. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to really spread the colors around, but what I really try to do is, oh, okay, this is better. So what I try to do is not have identical stone beads next to one another. And yes, sometimes it will happen, but for the most part, I like contrast not only in the linear way, but also this way in between the various wraps. So we're going to keep stringing until you have 3 full wraps of gemstone with the cubies in between. And so for you, it's going to be however long your wrist is, or whatever the diameter of your wrist is, 3 times, right? So you want the gemstone beads to, here, I'll just wrap it this way so that you can see that I have the gemstone beads going all the way around 3 times, right? So can you guys see that? So this is my last bead on one side, this is my last bead on the other side. So I guess I went around almost 3 times. And then I transitioned to just the cubies. And all of the cubies are staggered. And of course, I showed you earlier just how to stagger. It's pretty intuitive. And so we're going to keep stringing until we have 5 full wraps. 5 full wraps of beads. So as you can see, this is not quite 5 full wraps, but I am leaving a little bit of room for my clasp as well as the extender chain. So when we add the extender chain, we are going to add just a little bit to the bracelet. And then when we add the clasp, again, we're going to add a little bit to the bracelet. So you want to keep that in mind. And then, you know, if you want it a bit more loose or a bit more tight, and I'm just going to decide if I want to maybe add 1 more bead on each side. I feel like I want to, okay, I know this looks a little bit messy. Let's do this again in a neater way. So to do this in a neater way, just find the center bead. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is my center bead because I remember which bead I started with. But you don't have to remember which bead you started with. Just find the center and start. So I'm wrapping the bracelet around, and we're going to see just how far we are. So I'm about 1.5 inches apart, and I feel like I do need another little cubie on each side. So why don't we do that? We'll add a cubie to each side and then continue. So one thing I wanted to mention regarding sizing. You can make this piece up to 40 inches long, and probably more, but what we put on the kit is the maximum length of 40 inches. So for most people, it's going to be definitely enough as a bracelet, or I would say as a necklace, possibly even a bit too long. But what if your wrist is a little bit larger? What if your wrist is, let's say, 8 inches in length? And maybe you don't necessarily want a 40-inch necklace because, you know, I mean, that's going to get pretty long. If you're very tall and willowy, that's great. But if you're not all that tall and your wrist is, let's say, 8 inches, consider making a bracelet that is only 4 times around, and then you can decide how you use your beads. You definitely have more than enough beads in the kit to really play and make it suit your needs. And, you know, make your own choices. All right, guys, so now I have made this piece as long as I want, and I'm just going to proceed to the next step, which is attaching a clasp to one side and the extender chain to the other side. And this is, I'm doing this the very same way as I knotted, which is just string the clasp onto both ends of Ceylon, of your stringing material, and we're going to simply tie an overhand knot, leaving just a little bit of room here between the clasp and the last knot.
Pammy J said she has a doctor's appointment and will watch the rest later. I love both necklaces / bracelets.
Oh, thank you so much, Pammy J, and good luck at the doctor's. You have a wonderful day. All right, so I tied an overhand knot right here, and making sure that I definitely have enough space here for the next knot, because, oh, did I grab my glue? I did not grab my glue. I think after I tie this knot, I'm going to ask Tony to grab the super new glue from my office. So as you can see, I tied the knot, and maybe we will just chat while Tony is grabbing the glue. So in the meantime, I will do a little tiny preview. So this is one of our projects for next week. This is called boho stackers. I kind of debated whether I want to call it boho stackers or tiny stackers. Well, technically, one bracelet is a stacker. And so this is one of the colorways, and let me just show you the other colorway really quickly. This is our project for next Thursday. In the meantime, Tony brought me the super new glue. Thank you for grabbing it for me.
My pleasure.
And I'm going to put a little, or actually, you know what, I will grab a little piece of paper because, you know, it comes out so quickly. Don't glue until you have a piece of paper, just in case if you have to wick some of the glue away or guide the glue. So I put the glue on to the string and just kind of have it run down, and I will wick a little bit of the glue away. There we go, and this is going to dry very quickly. And while we're waiting for it to dry, I will work on the other end. So somewhere around here, I have extender chain. Yes, it's right here. So we're going to tie our chain right through one of the end links. And again, we definitely want to think about the spacing. We have our last knot, and we want about, I would say, about 5 to 6 millimeters between this last knot and the new knot. Although you can even leave a little bit more space, it does not hurt anything at all. And again, so I am tying onto the extender chain with the first knot, and then just making it a little bit stronger with the second knot. So there it is, nice and snug. And we're going to do the same thing, put a little glue onto our Ceylon and just have it run down to the knot. And if you glue this way, you will never over glue the knot. And the entire point about not over gluing the knot is so that we don't have the glue come down the other side of the string and make it brittle, because then it will break. And after all this knotting, we don't want our string to break. So while we're waiting for our glue to dry, we are going to make some fun little baubles with our cubies. And I have these fine head pins. They are pretty thin, so they wrap very, very easily. And I'm just stringing them. I'm stringing the cubies onto my
ball
pins. Yes, thank you, Tony. Okay, so we're going to make a 90-degree angle with each one of these, leaving just a little bit of space between the QB and the angle. And when I say just a little bit of space, I mean just like a millimeter, or, you know, give or take. 1.5 millimeters is okay too. So if you were to measure mine, I bet it's exactly 1 millimeter. And I didn't grab my bail making pliers, but I think for this project, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. So as you can see, I'm making a loop, but I'm not wrapping it just yet. So I'm going to make a loop with each one of these. I do this very much assembly style, where I use the same tool several times before I put it down and pick up a new tool. It just, you know, it saves me a little bit of time.
Carmen says good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Carmen. I'm so glad you're joining us today. All right, guys, so we're just going to string all 3 of these little ball pins into the last chain link. And now we are going to use our chain nose to hold on to each loop. And as we hold on to each loop, we are just going to wrap the wire around, around itself, making those fun organic loops that I have really been into lately. Organic loops are not only fun visually, but also they're a bit sturdier. When you're working with a little fine ball pin like this, it's really going to make it a little bit sturdier when you go around the wire twice. So let me slow it down on this last one. So what we're doing is we're going from the loop to the bead, so like what I'm doing right now. So going from the loop to the bead like this, and now I'm going to go from the bead right back to the loop. So we always hold on with our chain nose pliers so that we can see the overlap in the loop, and then I just wrap by hand. So now I'm going to trim all of these little ends. I'm not trimming them flush, I'm trimming them, leaving enough wire so that I can bend them in with my chain nose pliers, you know, tuck in all those little wire tails.
Kathy D says good morning and sends sunshine to all.
Good morning, Kathy. You are so sweet, and sunshine right back to you. And so right now I'm just using my chain nose pliers and pinching the ends in. I have one more left. And there it is. There is our fun little bauble at the end of the chain. I always finish with something kind of fun because, you know, it's going to dangle. It's that little bit of detail that makes our pieces really well finished, and it gives us a little bit more interest when we look at the piece. Okay, so now we have one last step. And that step is going to be cut off the excess string on each side because now it's really dry and is ready to cut away.
Lonnie says not to change the subject, but I'm still waiting for a video tour of the new shop so I can get an idea of what to ask for.
Oh, thank you, Lonnie. Yes, thank you so much for the reminder. Well, you know what? I actually finished the mural. I remember I mentioned the mural. So I finished the mural several weeks ago. And so technically, yes, we could do a tour. And we keep forgetting to say, I've been meaning to say in one of the emails, because people keep asking me, when are you finishing the mural? But yeah, it's actually done. So I would feel good about a tour. So this is a pretty chunky knot, ladies. And what I'm going to have to do is open up my my crimp cover or my knot cover. So these are designed for crimps, and it's just like a really good little bonus point that they work so well on the knots as well. So I use my chain nose pliers. Can you guys see? I put it right inside of the crimp cover / knot cover, and then I open it up. Did you guys see it open? Yay. All right, so now it should be much, much easier. And I'm just going to push the knot in by hand. Oh yes, so much better. Just goes right in. And if I need to, I might even use my chain nose pliers to kind of like push it in a little bit.
Allie says, yep.
Yay, thank you. So now that we have the knot in as far as we can, we're just going to close the cover. And it looks like I have the string just a little bit stuck in the crimp cover, but you know, it is so minimal. It's just not anything that I want to really make myself crazy about. Yes, I could try to open the crimp cover and stuff it a little more, but it just happens sometimes, you know, and with this chunky knot, yeah, it's going to happen. And I guess I'm just saying that it really does not bother me if it's just a little bit organic looking. So that is one crimp cover, and let's see if we can do the other one, maybe just a little bit neater.
Dana's wondering what size crimp cover you are using.
Oh, thank you for asking, Dana. It is 4mm crimp cover. I find that for this type of use, it works so much better. So really, in order not to get the string stuck in the seam, what I do is I just use my chain nose to stuff the string as far as I can inside the crimp cover. And generally it works pretty well. Just, you know, be a little patient, take your time, and it will work out nicely. So you guys have probably seen this a shmillion times. I push the crimp cover together, and then I still have that opening. So then I use my flat nose pliers, pushing in one side at a time. And it just takes a little patience, but you can get it to look exactly like a little round bead at the end. So this just covers that knot that may not be pretty, but even more importantly, it's not about the prettiness of the knot, it's about the fact that it's been glued. So because of the glue, it's going to be a little sharp and scratchy. And we certainly want to cover that. So that's it. That is actually it. So let's try this on. Should we try it on as a necklace or as a bracelet? Well, you guys have seen it as a necklace. You know, I think this one is just a little bit longer. So let's just see what it looks like as a necklace. Oh, wait, we're actually not done. Never mind, you guys. We're not done at all because we still have the tassel. So let's do this. Let's make the tassel very, very easy, very quick.
Amy says beautiful.
Thank you so much, Amy. So for the tassel in the kit, look for the longer and heavier ball pin. You know how I've been saying these ball pins are really fine. Okay, there's going to be one ball pin that is not at all like the others. So that ball pin is for your big stone. In this case, it's apple jasper. Actually, some of them are going to be apple jasper and some of them are going to be poppy jasper. They're actually very, very similar, but some are just a little bit more reddish than others. And it is that apple jasper that the heavy ball pin is for.
Fonda says very pretty. Love it. How fun.
Oh, thank you so much, Fonda. And okay, so this is going to be a difficult choice, guys. You need to help me make the choice. So I'm going to say definitely not the mookaite, maybe the yellow mookaite. So what do you guys want to see next to the oval bead? Do we want, I am actually liking the turquoise. How do you guys feel about the turquoise? I think I'm liking the turquoise more than the others. So why don't we go with that? Tell me if you like the turquoise. So we're going to put our beads on their respective ball pins. So whichever little bead, little faceted lentil bead you choose, that goes on the finer ball pin. And of course, we have our big oval piece on the heavier ball pin. We're going to make a 90-degree angle, and you can do that with your flat nose pliers or with your chain nose pliers. And then I am simply, in fact, you know what? I'm just going to do this on both at the same time. And so now we're going to switch to our round nose pliers. And there is our loop. And maybe we'll just review the loop a little bit. So when you make a wrapped loop, you start out with your round nose pliers just going halfway. So that you have something that looks like a question mark. And then you simply, what I do is I just use my thumb and cross the wire over and see if it needs to be tweaked a little bit in order to center it. And there's our loop. And now I'm going to switch to my chain nose pliers and wrap the loops. We're not connecting anything via the loop, so we might as well go ahead and wrap it.
Looks like the votes are in. Allie, Amy, Lynn, and Marianne say turquoise.
Yay.
And Nadine, Peggy, Lonnie say yellow mookaite. And we have a swing vote, which is Allie, and she says either is fine.
Well, you know what? So I kind of made the executive decision, but thank you for voting anyway. And I will say they're all really good choices. I really like the yellow as well. And I I almost went with that. So that would have been nice. But I think it's going to be the most contrast with the turquoise. So that was my choice. And so you guys decide when you're making your version of this piece, you decide. And so in the meantime, I'm going to wrap this guy. And actually, I did not go with an organic wrap on my larger piece. And the reason I did not is because that was a much heavier ball pin. And so that would have been not only harder to do, but it would have been way, way chunkier as well.
Jody says, I love the turquoise with it.
Oh, thank you so much, Jody. Okay, guys, so here are my two little charms that are going to hang from this ring. And then we also have the tassel. And we are going to use some jump rings to connect to the ring. So I always pre-open the jump rings. So I'm just going to open all 3 jump rings. And of course, the easiest way to do this is with your chain nose and your flat nose pliers. So as I open the jump ring, I kind of push one side a little bit over. And what I mean by that is like I push it over so that it overlaps. So when I go to close it, you can see there's a slight overlap. Can you guys see the slight overlap? Tony is saying no. How about now if I change the angle? So it's a very slight overlap. Okay, so if we give it a little squeeze, you can hear the click. And that's because I forced that overlap to align. So if you hear that little click, that's a really good thing.
Carmen says, beautiful. Love the color palette.
Thank you so much, Carmen. So what do you think? Is it a little bit like early fall, or what are these colors to you? Anybody jump in if you want to interpret the color palette.
Kathy D says, I see it. Yay.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you can see it. All right. And of course, the tassel is fun. It adds a little bit of movement. It's just another element visually. I love tassels. They're just really fun. And we are going to close this jump ring as well.
Ellie says, yes, the start of fall.
Yeah, it's just kind of that warm sun and beautiful blue sky. That's just what it looks like to me.
Kathy L says, sorry, I lost it. Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Amy says, Southwest colors.
Yeah, to me, this is pretty Southwest as well.
Carol says, bless you, Tony. Thank you, but I just coughed.
Well, that's very sweet.
Trudy says, anytime palette.
Yes, that too. Thank you, Trudy. And I'm going to connect to the lobster clasp. So this entire piece, we're going to connect to the lobster clasp.
Kathy says, yes, all year round. Kathy L.
Yay,
And Kim C says, festive confetti all year round.
Oh, thank you so much. Yay. All of those answers are good answers. There's not a wrong one. They're all wonderful. Okay, guys, but wait. I think I did something. What did I do? I know what I did. Okay, so actually, I forgot one of the jump rings. I knew something was just a tiny bit off. I don't know if you guys could tell. But, well, let me leave this for a second to illustrate what I'm saying. So if I use this as a pendant, it's going to hang the wrong way, you know, like when you have an earring the wrong way and it hangs sideways. It's the same thing here. And since we may be using this as a necklace, we are going to open this jump ring again, and we're going to add one more jump ring. So it's not one jump ring that we use to connect this tassel piece to the lobster claw, but we actually are going to have 2 jump rings. And this is so that this piece with the tassel is oriented in such a way that it can also be a pendant. As far as if we're wearing it as a tassel, it really doesn't matter. But if you are planning to occasionally wear this as a necklace, I think it's a super good idea to have 2 jump rings because, look, now it actually hangs as a pendant. Ta-da! So, all right, let's see what it looks like, shall we? So do you guys, in the meantime, while I'm trying this on and I'm going to show you what it looks like on me, in the meantime, do you guys have any questions or comments, maybe as far as like sizing? Maybe you have some tips. Maybe you can share how you would size it. Would you size it so that you have 5 wraps or 4 wraps? What is the longest that one would make for a necklace? Let's just kind of chat about that for a second. Okay, so here's my necklace. Ta-da! This is what we just made. And let's see how long it is on me. Okay, so again, I'm going to move my other necklace a little bit. I know it looks a little bit goofy, but it's okay. We're among friends, right? So can you guys see it here? I'm gonna move my work surface here. Ta-da! Does this look too long? I think, well, I like long. So to me, this looks just right. What do you guys think? Is this too long? How long is too long? Would 40 inches be too long? Do you like the idea of maybe just making it 4 strands instead of 5 strands? So why don't we share our thoughts on that while I take this off and show you what it looks like as a bracelet.
Angela says perfect.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Carmen says love the length.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Lonnie says perfect length.
Oh, yay, thanks.
Nadine says perfect. Carmen says absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ellen says necklace wrapped 2 times.
Necklace wrapped 2 times, so you want it quite a bit shorter then. I get it,
You could wrap it 2 times as a necklace.
Yes, you're so right. You're so right. If it ends up being a bit longer, you could always wrap it 2 times. You're so absolutely right. So, and let's say you make it 40 inches, you could have it, as like 2 slightly staggered strands. That would be really fun. So let's say 18 and 22 inches. That would be perfect.
Kathy L. is wondering, will the kit be in your shop?
Yes, Kathy, absolutely. In fact, the original sample color, which I called Turquoise Sky, is already in the Etsy shop. So you can get that as of now. The new color, Gemstone Kaleidoscope, will be in the Etsy shop sometime this afternoon.
Carol says it is nice on you.
Oh, thank you so much, Carol.
Allie says looks great. You can layer other necklaces with this one.
Absolutely. This, in my mind, this is definitely made for layering, which I love to do. So what do you think? This is quite colorful.
Amy says long is good for layering.
Thank you, Amy.
Dara says love it, love the length.
Yay, thanks so much, Dara.
Connie says I love the necklace. The length is perfect.
Thank you so much, Connie.
Kathy D says I love long, depends on your size, looks great on you.
Oh, thank you so much. And just so you guys get a little idea of, what it looks like on me versus sizing. So I am 5'3.5" to be exact. So, and I want to say my necklaces / bracelets are about 33 inches in length, just to have a little idea.
And Peggy is wondering, would the lobster claw wear out the Ceylon when connected for the necklace?
I don't think so, Peggy. Thank you for asking. So the lobster claw actually connects to the chain. It does not, I get it. You're talking about the extra little tassel. And I don't think so. I really don't. Because A, there's really nothing sharp about the lobster claw. It's very smooth. And B, the Ceylon is actually very, very strong. So, so I just really don't think that it will ever wear out. Well, maybe in like 200 years, perhaps.
Marianne says a very versatile piece, long necklace, wrap bracelet, double strand bracelet, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Trudy says love it.
Thank you so much, Trudy.
Kathy L says I love that color.
Oh, thank you.
Barb says I feel a trip to the store coming on.
Come on down, Barb.
Carmen says like it as a necklace and as a bracelet.
Thank you so much, Carmen.
Lindsay says perfect match with your turquoise bracelet.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you know, I've really been loving turquoise lately. And yeah, I enjoy mixing it all, you know, layering it. Thank you.
Peggy says yes, the tassel. So yeah, you went over the tassel.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And Betty says, is that a turquoise necklace that you are wearing?
It is indeed. I'll show you what it looks like. Much like all of my necklaces, or maybe not all, but most of my necklaces. It's a two-parter. It's a mix and match. So you guys have seen my mix and match pieces. So everything just kind of on clips. I've been into this idea of wearing things in very versatile ways for a long time. And with this type of a necklace, I can always have this top piece, which I call a chain, much longer, and then I could wear this longer. So, you know, versatile is really fun, and then you get to play with your jewelry every morning. So, and of course, my other necklace, you guys remember, it's the Wild Daisy one, which we did not too long ago, with like 2 weeks ago, I want to say. And speaking of things that we just did and what's coming up, I will do a little overview and a little preview. So you may or may not have watched my video from last night. This is what we did last night. This is not a necklace. These are actually 3 different bracelets. And I called this bracelet Land and Sea because, of course, we have our gorgeous pearls, and that is the sea, and everything else is land. So this is the jewelry version of Surf and Turf. And so the 2 bracelets closest to me are already in the Etsy shop. And then the new color that I just made during the video last night, this is the Rose Gold Lagoon. And this is going to be listed sometime today. I will say by 2 o'clock it'll be in the Etsy shop.
Kathy K says yes, love the mix and match.
Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. I have a whole series on mix and match, you guys, from a couple of years ago. I don't know what year, but it was sometime in October, November, and maybe Lauren will have a link for the Mix and Match series. If you have not watched it yet, maybe just give it a shot. You will probably find some fun tips, whether you like making your jewelry in 2 separate parts or not. There's a lot about technique in that series, and it's just, I think it's pretty fun.
Betty says beautiful necklace.
Thank you so much, Betty.
Diana says fun design. Do the cubies age with time?
Not that I know of, Diana. These are base metal cubies, and they actually tend to stay exactly as you see them. Well, now you see them. How about that?
Kim C says love the size of the he, she in your mix and match. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I love these little turquoise he, she's. They're just really fun, and I like spacing with silver. So yeah, I make a lot of these fun little pieces for layering. And so next week we have a couple of bracelet, or actually, yes, we will have 3 different versions of the stacker bracelet. This is, I call these boho stackers, and well, for obvious reason. Here, let me just, maybe I'll, since we're very turquoise themed today, I'm just going to put this guy on and show you how nicely it mixes with my turquoise. So of course the really popular look these days is an arm party of bracelets. So this is what we think of as an arm party, and so it's really fun to kind of, again, the theme is mix and match, right? So it's fun to mix and match different styles together. So here I have stringing, knotting, and of course leather. And I just noticed actually that I used QBs on all three. I guess I'm kind of consistent with myself. This was not planned, you guys.
Ellie says, how many boho stackers will be in a kit?
Just one, Ellie. Although, you know what? Tony and I were just talking about this. So you tell me. I'm planning to have 3 different colorways. So you tell me, do you guys want these all in one kit, or do you want to be able to pick your colors? So it's either one kit with 3 colorways, or it's going to be 3 kits with the supplies for 1 bracelet for each colorway. So you let me know how you would like to see it. So these are the 2 colorways I have so far, and the 3rd colorway is also going to be super fun. It's going to be turquoise leather, and the beads are going to be carnelian. So that is the story. But wait, there's more. I also have a preview for Friday, and this is called Moon Over Paris. So while you're voting, while you're letting me know how you would prefer this boho stackers kit, this is the Moon Over Paris, and this of course is inspired by this very vintagey, very Parisian looking finding, and it is also our centerpiece. I love this little floral moon.
Ellen says 1 kit, 1 colorway, and Dana says 1 for each color.
Okay, that is sort of where I was leaning, and I think that's a good idea because, you know, we're all so individual in our color preferences, and I think we just want to pick exactly what we like, right? So I think we have just made the decision, and we are going to make these 1 colorway per kit. Okay, guys, and I believe we have just covered everything we set out to cover. What do you think? So thank you for your feedback. I really, really do appreciate it. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, for all of your comments, and have a wonderful and creative weekend. I will see you next week.